welcome back to part 2 of our Welcome to the Ape series. The apes are back in the building.
We got an ape all over the London Eye, people. Watch out, the apes are climbing the Shah tomorrow.
And today we will be taking you on a journey of mindfulness. We will be discussing our favorite sights, sounds, smells, taste, and touch. It's a great way to explore the world, stepping out into it, making sure that you appreciate every single moment that you're experiencing life. We're going to kick off today talking about sights. Who would like to go first?
Oh, I suppose it's up to me.
I can go first if you want. I'm happy to set the base.
Go on then.
Okay, so
I was waiting because I'm gonna keep this one. Last episode, you remember what was happening.
You know what? Same genes. So my favourite sight is being able to look into a landscape, and the memory that comes to me is going to Norway, which is I've said it before, and you'll hear me say it again right now. Is born out of the sea. It's mountains, towering mountains, and crashing waves. Because of this drastic landscape combined with the complete coverage of snow, long, deep sunsets, you get this marvelous array of kind of colours, like a gradient of colours coming from very light blues to deep purples that bless and touch the water. And it just brings me so much kind of peace and enjoyment, and it's something that can instantly bring a smile to my face.
I like that.
I like it a lot.
Can I go next?
Yeah, go for it.
Are we just going?
One of my favorite sites is a beautifully curated scene. Whatever it is in a film, a beautifully created scene, and a portrait of an image in a scene. And I'll give you an example. And that example is from Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson. If you look at any of the films that Wes Anderson makes, he paints a picture within the frame. And I could look at any Wes Anderson movie, and at least 10 to 15 times, I am awestruck just by the imagery. There's a great shot of the Grand Budapest Hotel just from the outside, where you just see this beautiful purple monument rising into the sky, and then you'll see like a really small person in the distance running through, look kind of like they're a stick person. And so one of my favourite sites is a beautifully curated image on the big screen.
Fantastic. I love that. And Wes Anderson has a great use of colours as well. Fabian?
I was going to go on the landscape route because I could do that, but I'm not going to go that way. Because as you were talking about a beautiful created scene, it brought me back to seeing a sight of a moment of happiness with family. It's that whole moment, like, we spoke about a roast dinner.
Yeah.
Or like for me, it's always going to be Boxing Day when I've got 20 to 30 of my whole family all sitting around tables eating, my little cousins running around. It's that one precious moment when you think we are family. And for me, that's one of the best sights I've ever seen.
That's lovely.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really lovely. I like that.
I'll go next, shall I? Right. The first thing that sprang to my mind is, and obviously I'm working along similar lines with Ethan, is the sea. The sea, and in our area where we live down in Devon, the sea is because we've got quite red sandstone around that area. The sea is a kind of aquamarine colour. It's not kind of blue like the Mediterranean, but it's like got this real greeny tinge to it. Yeah. And often we'll go down to a local cove, and the water will be, just stunning. Sometimes it's really clear. Sometimes the waves are rolling in. Sometimes, you see different creatures on the sea. And it's like, sometimes you can see all the way over to Portland Bill, which is, 40, 50 miles away. And all the way along the coast. Other days it's like really cloudy or misty. But I just love, and I never tire of going and look at the sea. In fact, quite often in the evenings, regardless of the weather, after dinner we'll just walk down, go and look at the sea for a couple of minutes and come back home again. So the sea is wherever I am.
I could be there with you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I love looking at the sea.
It's interesting you asked me this because I've got so many sites. So I'm going to talk about the fact that we can see, right?
Oh.
This amazing gift of evolution. Like,
Very
got to this
true.
point where we can see. Now, humans see differently to other animals. We see in a
Yeah.
spectrum. We can't see infrared. We can't see ultraviolet. But we can see, and all humans see slightly differently. So some
Yeah.
males, for example, can't really see red and green. They see monochrome. The ability to see is just such a wonderful thing. So for me, it's like it can be something small, the form of something, or it can be like you people have said, long distance, or it can be seeing a congregation. But if I was to be really, really sweet tonight, inspired by DJ Love, one of my favourite sights is waking up in the morning and seeing my wife.
Oh, that's a round.
Big up DJ
That was-
Carl in the building. Did you hear what he said? That's not even brownie points. That's the whole tray of brownie right there. Like, damn. Yeah, we like that. We like that a lot. We like that more. Even next one for us.
Boom bow. Next up, we have got our favourite sounds, musicians. It could be just the waves crashing. Could be a bit of everything. Who would like to kick us off?
I would like to go. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So I have two. I'm copping out here. I have two, but I'm going to be very quick with them. So 2 is right now, hearing all of your lovely voices. I'm very blessed. I love you all very much. Thank you. Number 2 is the sound of Ray LaMontagne's voice. I don't know if any of you have heard of Ray LaMontagne, but Ray...
Do you know what? Sorry to cut you there. I don't know who it is,
Yeah.
but the way you said his name, it's like
Yeah.
I want my phone to look at it now.
Yeah. Genuinely, this man has... It's quite a gravelly sound, but then there is a beautiful harmony that comes out. And genuinely, if I listen to Ray LaMontagne, it takes me to a different world. It connects me to my mum. We have great memories listening to Ray LaMontagne. I also used to work in a cafe, and it was in the winter. I was in a shipping container of a cafe, and I had maybe one customer over the space of 3 months, and there was a playlist, and it was the only playlist I could play, and Ray LaMontagne featured heavily on it and got me through those cold winters in this shipping container cafe.
That's
Nice. I'll go.
Let's go.
I'm the same with Jed. I've got 2 because I think they really are. It's hard for me to say which one I need, because I'll say with the first one, it's that whole thing of when everyone that knows me know, I'll say throw me in the middle of the woods in a cabin and let me just hear the birds chirping, the leaves rustling, all of those kind of sounds, just everything but humans. Like literally, I don't want to hear a car, I don't want to hear ambulance, I don't want to hear police, I don't want to hear a train, I don't want to hear nothing. I want to hear all natural sounds to me, and I know that will just bring me great peace. Now the second one I'd say, which is a lot for me, would be when I get to my chilled vibes with music.
Okay.
And when I mean chilled vibes, I'm talking about the Jill Scotts, the Lauryn Hills, the Eric Badu, because they always give me that transition back to when my mum was around. When my mum used to sit in my hallway with the headphones on, and I could hear something playing. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know, these times I'm watching Channel U and hearing Pow and everything. And I'm not getting what she's listening to, because I'm like, it's all garage, you know. I'm listening to DMX, I'm listening to that kind of stuff, right? And it's only like a lot more now. I hear a song, and I was speaking to one of my godparents a while ago, and I said to him, why does this song remind me so much of Mum?
Yeah.
And I can't remember listening to it fully. I just remember that beat. And that was a Jill Scott song called Long Walk. And it really brings that kind of thing back to me. And I think that's one thing I love about sound and music, is that so many memories come from like one particular song or a particular sound that you have from childhood or just any time in life. And they are my top 2 sounds.
Over to Kate or Carl.
I go next. It's funny actually, because you said about birdsong, and that is one of the things that it just takes you so close to nature.
Yes.
And because I'm gardening a lot of the time and it's quite quiet, one of the things I really notice is the birdsong around me, and I absolutely love that. But when I was out in the Gambia a couple of years ago, I used to get up I'd be first up in the morning basically, and I would just go out of my little hut and sit on a bench and just listen to the birdsong. And I've got some recordings of it from the Gambia, and it just takes me back to that moment, and I can smell the heat, I can smell the surrounding. It kind of like kicks all my other senses in, and it takes me right back there. So I absolutely love that little recording that I've got of 2 minutes of birdsong from the Gambia. But the other thing that I absolutely love to hear, and I don't know if you know, but well, I know Ethan knows obviously, but Carl and I met online.
Yeah.
So our initial kind of interactions were through, messages.
Yes, of course.
And then we spoke on the phone, and I was just like, oh my God, his voice. And I think I kind of fell a little bit in love with him just from his voice. But occasionally now, and when persuaded, I lie in bed at night and put my head on his chest, and he will read Grimm's fairy tales to me.
Nice.
And the
Very
sound of that just kind of resonating through, and being read a story, it kind of takes you back to childhood.
Yes.
But the kind of the vibrations from somebody else's kind of voice is just really calming.
Yeah.
So that is another one of my favourite sounds. Is the sound of my husband.
This is a beautiful episode,
This is
I should have bought some tissues. I'm about to tear up. I had a question. I had a very quick question. In your garden, different birds like different things. How did you create? I feel like you've almost created a soundscape of birds, depending on what you planted in your garden. How did you do that? How did you achieve that?
Well, it depends. You've got to put different plants in for different birds. I mean, we're really lucky that we have this amazing hedge, which is a plant called Escalonia, and it houses a big colony of sparrows who like to live in there. Yes. But also, when it goes into flower and it has these amazing pink flowers and this very distinctive smell, it hums with bees as well.
Oh, I love the
and
bees.
The sound of the bees is just like, well, you can hear it as you walk up the garden path. Even though the hedge is several yards away. I suppose the other thing we do
is leaving the grass fallow meant that one of the things we've heard the last two songs is crickets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grasshoppers because the grass is so long and they just make their way. But also we've got a pond in the garden now which brings other birds in. So that's something I dug out during lockdown.
Yeah. The more diverse, the more sound.
Yeah.
So I had a question. It's kind of for everyone really. So as you speak about like birds and sounds, and one of the reasons why I enjoy sounds as well is because it kind of reminds me the simplicity and like the perfection of life itself. Like it's the whole point of, like you said, you're in your garden and you could just be planting, doing some gardening, and it's like you said, it's dead quiet, and it's that whole thing when you hear that bird chirping to remind you that is life. Yeah. And for me, I love that because it's just like here in London, we're so busy, so moving around, you don't hear that bird or whatever. And then you go to the countryside and it's quiet. Yeah. And then you hear it goes, wow, birds. Yeah. But like, that's it. It's an amazing thing. It's nice.
Was that a question?
Well, I was just saying, you agree, because some people might not see it that way, just like, oh, it's just a bird. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was just asking, like, do you get them kind of sensations as well?
I'd just like to piggyback off that, and I know we're rolling, but there is, funnily enough, a woodpecker in Mansfield Park in Lewisham, in Hither Green, and every now and then you hear it.
Yes.
Do you remember we used to be training in the park and you hear and it was
6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, it was a fascinating sound and something that I had actually, to my recollection, never heard before, and it was stunning. And to be in the middle of a city and to hear the woodpecker, it does take you to a whole different world. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I talked about crickets, but inspired again by DJ Love, I've got to say music, and he mentioned Gil Scott-Heron, and I've just got to tell viewers the revolution will not be televised.
Tell him again.
I love that.
Have you ever seen a record before? Ask yourself that. But yes, Carl next.
Yeah, it's Carl.
Oh, what didn't I just say?
Oh, you just said
it. You know, that's a great answer. It's over to me.
He did it so
no one listening?
That was the first mistake.
Will not be televised.
So my one, I'm going to go a bit different. I completely agree with all of you in terms of nature, sound. I love music, and I've spoken endlessly about music on this. I'm going to go to something that a lot of people hate. They have associated with something negative, but I love, and I've come to love, the sound of my alarm in the morning. When I was younger, I used to have Dizzy Rascal Fix Up Look Sharp when I used to go to school.
Yeah.
Great way to start the day with high energy. And then I went on to Champion by Kanye West. And both of those, as I've kind of gotten older, I needed something a bit softer. So I've just gone to the standard iPhone when you set your bedtime. That one, everyone knows what it sounds like. And that reminds me that I have another opportunity to go again. I have another opportunity to seize the day, carpe diem, all those cliches there. I'm going to embrace fully.
Yeah.
And again, the sound of alarm. I get to see Jed. I get to talk to my mom. I get to see Carl. I get to see everyone.
Where's it? I need the thing like pull up.
Yeah. So I've now associated that with positivity.
Yeah.
That's my sound.
Thank you.
Next up.
Yeah,
the
maybe
smells.
you need Grace Jones pull up to the bumper.
Pull it right up. Moving on up.
We have smells.
Smells.
Oh, you should start really.
What?
Because you smell so good today, sir.
Man, smells. Oh man, you smells.
I got it if you want me to go.
You know what? I just need a second, so I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, cool.
I've got it, but I need a second to.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
See, I had one, and then I was like, "Oh, there's another one."
That's what I mean. Yeah.
My favorite all-time smell is one that goes back to childhood, and it's when I know that mom was cooking something, and there's flavors from the kitchen, and I just it's something that it's ingrained into my DNA. It's part of my being. I'm tuned to whenever my mom was cooking to be like, there's something good going on here. The salivation begins, and the hunger escalates. And the other smell that is more of a recent smell is I love the smell of vanilla candles.
Okay.
I find them to be very relaxing. I might put on a vanilla candle, put on some tunes going back to sounds, and have a bath. And I've come to associate the smell of vanilla with being relaxed. So anytime I smell it, I'm now more chilled.
I've chilled out actually just by hearing you say that, so thank you. Wicked. Am I good to roll from that?
Yeah, go for it.
So I have a romantic love affair with Canada. I am in love with that country. I'm in love with the people. I am in love with the culture. It's an incredible place. It has just some wonderful places, cities, buildings, food. And one of my favourite smells of all time is the smell that you get from Niagara Falls. So I don't know what it is. I don't know the chemistry behind it. I don't know the science behind it. I'm sure we could Google it and Ethan, you'd be able to break it down for me. But there is a smell that comes off of the falls that I haven't smelled anywhere else. It's when the water crashes down and then it has this massive plume of water comes back up, and it just fills your nostrils, and it's slightly wet, but there's something in there, and it just reminds me of seeing something truly majestic. It reminds me of something that is greater and grander than any one human being and really any being, and I absolutely adore it. And it reminds me to say that smell is the sense that is most linked to our memory, and it's proven in some cases that smell can bring back whole completely thought to be lost memories, and can help people who suffer with memory issues. And I just remember whenever I think of that smell, it takes me back to being above the falls and seeing this grand, majestic thing that is truly awe-inspiring.
Good answer right there.
Thank you.
See, I say I got two, but the reason I want to talk about the first one, because the first one, it was more of a very big experience for me as a young kid, and that was when one of my uncles took me to Ireland.
Oh, nice.
And what it is, like, I'll do it very quickly, because all it was the whole thing of being in London and then arriving in Ireland, walking off the plane, and being able to breathe for the first time. And like, people don't understand that, because you don't understand the pollution you're in, the air you're breathing now, until you go somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, coming off the plane, I'm walking like this, first breath in, I'm going, what? Like, you know, you're like, wait, what? Like, you know, you just instantly you feel like you just hold all kinds of new kinds of oxygen, and that for me is a great difference. It's not a smell, but it's the whole thing. It's the whole thing of actually breathing.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest smells, and I don't think I can ever get over it, would have to be just cooking on a drum barbecue.
Yeah.
It's the smell.
And you're good at that.
Yeah, it's the smell of the jerk chicken. It's the smell of the beef on there. It's the smell of the smoke, the charcoal, all of it. Because as a kid, I grew up watching, God rest his soul, my Uncle Johnny cook. And he was the #1 chef in my family. So seeing him cook on the grill all the time, seeing him make the sauce, and seeing him start the barbecue with the wood, the coal, and getting all these different kind of smells in one place was amazing for me as a kid. Even to the point when I used to watch him spray beer on the jerk chicken to stop it from burning. I never understood it, but the smells you got from it, it's just like, okay, cool. So no matter what function I was at, and if he was cooking, that's where I'd be. Like anyone trying to find me, it's not even like I'm trying to eat the food. I'm watching. I'm so fascinated seeing him, how he does it, how he gets the colour like that, how he stops it from burning, how he makes the sauce, and then watching everyone eat. And it's just literally all those smells. Because the reason why I loved it so much is that whole thing, when something smells so good to you, you taste it without even having it. So like, you can smell the vanilla and you instantly taste it. Like you said before, like the other senses start to kick in. And I used to love that when you used to go to these barbecues. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's me.
Right, well, I've got several as well.
You're the guest. You're the guest.
It's so hard just to pull out one, and especially as I love food. And so my first one that sprang to mind was I do like to make bread, and sourdough bread in particular is the moment.
Don't forget about your jams, please. I got some planned.
We're talking about smell right now. We're talking about taste.
Like she said, she had to cook, but
we're gonna get to taste soon.
Yeah, let's go.
So I bake my sourdough in a Dutch oven.
Okay.
Because if you bake it in a normal oven, it's too drafty and it forms a crust too quickly. But if you bake it in a Dutch oven with a lid on, it stops it drying out, and so it can do its last bit of rising. But when you bring it out, you take the lid off. And there is your big kind of golden dome. And you're just waiting to get the crust on. It's like the smell that already you get from that. It's just like, I don't know, something so simple about good bread. And that's literally made from flour, salt and water. And your mother, your sourdough starter. That just is like, I just can't wait to get my teeth into it. I don't bake it too often for that reason. And the other one is, and I think it's very similar to what Jed was saying, is that smell you get when it hasn't rained for a while and then rain falls. And it's like, and you can kind of almost smell it evaporating. It's called petrichor. That's the name for it.
Okay.
And I think it must be quite similar to your Niagara Falls. But that smell when it's just rained and it's like everything smells fresh again, and it's like it kind of does something to your nostrils. I don't know. It just kind of like cleans everything. I absolutely love that. And I don't know, the other smell that came to my heart, I think, was remembering when Ethan was really little and smelling his head. Because babies have a really distinctive smell. And it was just like, I can just remember burying my nose in his big mop of hair that was like really soft and inhaling that baby smell. So that's my third one. Sorry about that.
He does smell good, that's true. He does smell wonderful.
Very vanilla-y these days.
I didn't even know that was a thing. So
no, when you have kids of your own, you'll be doing that exactly the same.
Given the inability of my co-panelists to give short answers, freshly ground coffee, the smell of the sea, and a really well-seasoned curry.
And you do season your curries well.
Nice.
That's exciting.
So he just gave more answer than we gave in a short time.
Quality.
That's the man right there.
Next up, we have flavors in the pot. Our favorite taste. I think I'm gonna go from that end.
Yeah.
Taste. Crikey! I mean, where do we go?
I mean, the house that you live in is some of the best tastes I've ever had in my entire life.
Full of flavors.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is I'm going to nail it right down to one thing: is dukkha.
Okay.
Dukkha is a Mediterranean, mostly North African spice mix. So it has some fennel in it. It has hazelnuts in it. It has sesame seeds in it. It has a bit of cumin in it. It has lots of other things, salt and pepper, And it's really great. It's great on cheese, it's great on eggs, it's great on bread just by itself. It's fantastic. So dukkha, look it up. Dead easy to make.
Yeah.
Make some, sprinkle it on your food.
Nice.
Awesome.
I'm gonna flag that somewhere, and we'll put a link to dukkha in the down there.
I'm also gonna buy you some and see how you use it.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
We've got some. We've got some.
No,
We've got some.
Oh,
No,
so
we've got some.
I didn't know. I just enjoyed the flavors. Thank you so much. I appreciate you very much.
We had chicken a few weeks ago that had dukkha in it.
And that tasted amazing.
nice. Okay.
Okay, so this was really, really hard for me, but I kind of narrowed it down to two things because when you taste things, it's not just about how they taste, but it's also about the mouthfeel. I love stuff that's crunchy. I love things that are a bit crunchy, but perhaps with a bit of softness in. So, and I love things that are warm as well. So, almond croissant. Like crisp on the outside. I know Ethan can't, but almond croissant was one of them. And the other thing was, and I've been hankering after one, and we're going to go for one tomorrow, and I'm really excited, is a really good toasted cheese sandwich. And I'm thinking two slices of sourdough, lavishly brushed with butter, and some Comte or some other similar French cheese in the middle, so that it's like crunchy and brown on the outside, and oozing cheese in the middle, and it's like, I don't care how many calories are in there, I'm going to cycle it off afterwards. But that is what I've been hankering after.
A good grilled cheese reminds me of Manchester. There is a place called Northern Soul, which is just the best grilled cheese I've ever had in my entire life, and they've gone from strength to strength up there. Yeah, so a grilled cheese goes a long way.
I want to also shout out Ethan for introducing me to Northern Soul. My first ever time in Manchester. Ethan took me there and I was like, well, I'm stuck here now. I'm not going anywhere else. I also want to say the greatest grilled cheese I've ever had was made by the man right next to me.
I mean, I did have a thing for grilled cheese sandwiches. I still do. I just haven't made them recently, but
this is it. I haven't had one recently.
They
and
are.
It's just like I really fancy one at the moment.
Yeah, they are crazy.
That is my tune.
Faves.
Mine's got to go with the smell, and it's just got to be barbecue. And the reason why it's just that I take pride and I respect someone. Instead of putting a lump of beef in the oven for 2.5 hours, you decide to go onto a barbecue and slow cook the thing for like 16 hours. And it's like I did a bit of beef on the weekend on the barbecue, and it's one thing like some people don't realize is like when the meat goes pink, it doesn't mean it's raw. It's called like these smoke rings, and it's where like the outside of the beef tends to go not almost like it's a dark rosy pink, and it's not of the fact of that it's the rawness. It's because it's slow cooking. I can't remember exactly what it does, but it's something to do like with the blood going to that way and something, and it brings out, like you said, this butteriness in the meat. So when you go to these places, people, and you're eating this chewy stuff and you're chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking to like 6 to 7 chews and it's just melted.
Yeah.
Like it's just melted and it's just gone down.
Tender.
Yeah, absolutely lovely. And oh man, just thinking about it. Anything barbecued right is amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. And I love it. The chicken, again, the juiciness from it. The beef, the smoked burgers, everything, just shrimp, the lot, just barbecue. Done.
Barbecue in the house.
Done.
And I've got something that goes perfectly with that because my other love affair is with the city of New Orleans, NOLA, down in the south, baby. And the flavour that I most associate with New Orleans is Cajun seasoning. Put Cajun on almost anything and I'm eating that and enjoying it. So Cajun seasoning reminds me of incredible times and takes me to right there in New Orleans.
I'm gonna go very quick with this one, and it's if you know the podcast, you know what answer is coming, and it's my mum's food every single day, whatever form it takes. It could be the most basic cheese on toast, and it'll be the best cheese on toast I've ever had. It's undefeated, and it has a very, very special place in my heart. I can't wait to eat it when I come down for Christmas.
I've got big plans, I tell you.
So I better get working. My belly got big plans too.
Let's go. Yeah.
Finally, touch. And I was speaking to Carl before the podcast, and he had a really interesting answer. So I'd like to save yours until the end, if that's all right. And we are back, and we are talking. We are rounding off our podcast talking about touch.
Touch.
Who would like to go first?
Can't touch it.
I will happily go first.
Okay.
So, I'll give a little bit of a background. I have been so fortunate. Me and Fabian have been so fortunate over the past 5 years to have been blessed with working with the NFL when the NFL comes over to London. Now, it's funny, me and you have only done it, I think, once together, maybe twice together, because of different things, right? And my favourite touch of all time is the feel of a properly mudded, waxed and rubbed down American football. Because every single NFL team treats the ball in a slightly different way. And so they get mud and oil and wipes from different places that treat each ball slightly differently because each quarterback, each player prefers the ball to feel in a certain way. And I love that feeling, one, because it takes me to that place where I am amongst the greatest in the world at what they do, but two, it feels like home. So I would say a professionally touched up American football.
Nice. I can go, no problem. Mine's has to be giving my mum a hug. And the reason I say it is because my mum always used to complain. But that's because I always used to squeeze her so tight. Yeah. So it wasn't just like, give my mum a hug, like I give her a hug, it's like, get off of me, get off of me, I can't breathe. Because I always just used to proper squeeze it. And it's funny for me because my nan does it now. She always goes to me, hug me like you used to hug mum. Because everyone used to know anytime I'd hug my mum, it's that tight squeeze. Yeah. So now I do it with my nan, but obviously I don't do it too tight. I'm not trying to hurt my nan. So yeah, for me, it's just that touch there because it's, again, that solidarity, just being whole again.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. No, I wish I went before you because I was going to say...
I said American football's
I know. Like, go next if you like.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, should I go now? Should I let them go?
You chose the right time, and that was a beautiful moment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Next.
So, a number of years ago when we moved down to Devon, we discovered a little shop in a town called Ashburton. It's called Number 30, and it's a dress agency, so it takes people's second-hand, good quality clothes and resells them. And we went in there one day, and they have a little row of cashmere jumpers. Ooh. And I've always thought cashmere's too elitist. Like, £90 for a jumper. It's like, seriously. Yeah. Well, they had this beautiful lime green cashmere jumper up there, £30.
Sounds like
it was like, oh, that's really nice. I took it down. Oh my goodness me! I don't think I've ever felt anything quite as soft.
Yeah.
Well, because I only paid £30 for it, I just wear it, and now it's got holes in all over it. I'm going to do like some sympathetic sewing on it to like kind of make sure it doesn't fall apart. It is my number one favourite jumper because the feel on your skin, especially after you just had a shower and you put cream on and stuff, and you put this cashmere jumper on, it is like being wrapped in a hug.
Yeah, nice.
So that was my first one. And the second one is a feeling that not everyone will have experienced because you've got to get into cold water to feel it. Oh, yeah. And it is going into cold water. And the reason I love that and I love that sensation is because you can feel where your edges are.
Yes.
And what I mean is like you're aware of every bit of your skin, your exterior, because it's touching the cold. Yeah. And that's not a feeling that you get when you're wearing clothes or when you're walking around anywhere unless you're immersed in really cold water. Yeah. And I think, so that has to be that kind of like sense of like real being. That sense of like, being held by the water almost because you can feel exactly where you end and it starts.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though it might be taking your breath away and it's like, it might not be the most like kind of amazingly beautiful experience. There's something about it that I absolutely love, Nice. And also you just can't beat a hug. That's true. Especially from someone you love.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is why I love seeing you guys because you all get hugs and they're all wonderful. For me, there are a couple of answers. I love the feeling when you get into bed and there's just enough weight on top of you to feel kind of comfortable. Also, it gives you that feeling of security, and you know that you're going to sleep well. And then, and especially like a freshly made bed. That's one of my favorites. And the other one is when you have a new book and you've got the smells and you turn the first page and it kind of sounds very crisp. And just that feeling of turning the pages and working through the book, and you can feel it kind of getting heavier on one side as you make the progress, and it's just such a wonderful, all-encompassing feeling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say just before you go, I meant like that whole getting into bed feeling.
Yeah.
It's different because you know, especially when you go on like a little holiday, so you've not been in your bed for a while, or like you just put the fresh sheets on, and it's like I'm gonna fall asleep straight away tonight. Like, you know, as soon as you get in, like, you've got no hope of trying to turn any TV on or look at your phone. It's like, no, bye. That's it. So, yeah, get that one, definitely.
So I was talking to Ethan and saying how there's more than 5 senses. So, for example, if I'm on a roller coaster, I love that sensation of being thrown around, right? But is that touch or is it something else, right?
Yeah,
So it's partly about gravity. So for me, one of the things in touch is being on a roller coaster, right? I love that sensation of my body falling. So it's not quite touch, but it kind of is touch.
Yeah, we'll allow it.
Yeah, we'll allow it.
But the one that comes to mind as I'm talking about it is a long time before I met Kate, I was walking in the Seven Oak Forest, which is somewhere I can't even remember where it is. I think it's Wiltshire. And it was autumn time. It was around now. And at the time I was making things I'd kind of get to a place and make things out of twigs or leaves or whatever, because I'd been inspired by this guy called Andrew Goldsworthy, who's a landscape artist, sculptor. And I made this spiral, right? There was these leaves on the tree, so I made this huge spiral, maybe as big as this room is. And when I got to the middle, I felt this hard object, right? So I pulled it out, and it's this piece of flint about so long, and it's been worked, right? And it fits my hand. I've still got it. It fits my hand perfectly. So it's like, and I was thinking, somebody made this a long time ago, who had a hand similar to mine.
Yeah.
And when I hold it, it's just the most. It's almost like I'm holding something ancient, something full of significance, and probably something powerful.
It's that voice again.
There you go. Out of nowhere. Lovely. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
And the 7 Acre Forest, that's Winnie the Pooh as well, isn't it?
No, that's
the 100 Acre Wood.
Forest.
Okay.
But it's,
Was it the 100 Acre Wood?
100 Acre
That's
Wood,
the one,
yeah. That's the one. Oh, well done.
Good memory.
So today we've taken you on a journey through mindfulness. One thing that I'd like to do is get 2 minutes of that audio from the bird song and maybe just put it somewhere in the podcast.
Yeah,
So
no.
we'll sort that out afterwards.
Yeah.
It's been a really wonderful episode. I really like the energy that we've shown today. You can find us at Motivational Moments LDN on Instagram. What are we on TikTok?
The same.
Yeah, it's the same on TikTok, people.
And on YouTube at MMTALKS.
It's the YouTube channel is called Motivational Moments, and the podcast is MMTALKS.
Yep.
Yeah,
All
that's it.
major podcasting platforms now.
Yeah, like and subscribe, people. Yeah.
Any final words from the Apes, our wonderful guests? Thank you so much for coming today.
Just tune that FM dial to Dr. DJ Love.
That's right, baby. Thank you very much.
And wherever you are in the world, just don't forget to look around you, experience what's out there. Maybe take a couple of minutes just to close your eyes and listen to what's going on around you, and appreciate all the world has to offer.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week, guys. Peace out.
Bye.
Peace and love.
Bye.
Peace.